Hi, beautiful people. Welcome, welcome. I am leading a new round of WEIGHTY that begins this Monday on May 21st. And it is my 4-week reset for nutrition and mindset, a full body and spirit reset. And I want to share with you tonight 2 points of invitation. And whether or not you're feeling a call or curiosity to WEIGHTY, or however it is that you are practicing your way into becoming, I think these are going to connect with you. So I want to share this. There's a beautiful Sanskrit word called sadhana, and we would translate it kind of simply as practice, a practice, but even more specifically as a practice for a particular period of time, a transformational period of time that you set aside to a particular discipline. I love that the root word of discipline is disciple, which tells us that discipline is less about a kind of rigidity and rigor and mindless following, and more a kind of devotional surrender of ourselves to a transformative way. So a disciple is someone who is being transformed by a way to which they're giving themselves over. A sadhana has this sense, and we see this across like all cultures, all time, of a retreat, a time set apart for transformation. So that is the spirit of WEIGHTY. It is 4 weeks, it's 28 days, it's essentially a moon cycle, a month cycle that is a cocoon for you of transformation, a reset for all of the ways that you're nourishing yourself. And I put it that way because we give attention not just to food and our relationship to food, very importantly to our relationship to our bodies. Like, how are we thinking about these miraculous, these miracle machines that we live inside of, that we often don't take the kind of tender, loving care that they deserve? And so we give attention to all of these things, but we're also looking at the inputs, all of the ways you're feeding yourself, the relationships you're feeding yourself, the thought patterns you're feeding yourself, the media diet that you're on, right? All of the ways that we're feeding ourselves, and with a clarified vision of your legacy, a refined vision of your legacy and purpose, learning to fuel yourself, to nourish yourself with that insight. So it is very much about understanding and reclaiming your worth, your radiance, your work in this world. So no small stakes. In my own journey with nutrition, and of course the journey that all of us have been on with our relationship to our bodies, our body image, I've always just been fascinated by nutrition science. And then, of course, the whole like lush, sensual, foodie world. And I didn't see much of a bridge between these two. And I also didn't see a conversation around nutrition that was getting to the heart of the stories that we are all living in, that we've all been shaped by, that is fueling the beliefs that are fueling our actions and our practices. So WEIGHTY is very literally a feast of wellness and reset. You can find all about it at nicolemoline.com/WEIGHTY. There's a second point of invitation and vision that I want to throw out tonight. And I've just been like marinating in this beautiful line of Rumi's, the poet Rumi, 13th century mystic. Go dive into his incredible work and just like let him carry you away. The wound is where the light enters. It's like, feel that. The wound is where the light enters. These ruptures in ourselves, physically, spiritually, that we think of as these points of weakness, these points of vulnerability. The root word of vulnerability is wound. We think of these things as often what weakens us, right? And to connect back to some of those stories, some of those maybe thought loops about ourselves, our worthiness, our unworthiness. These are these wounds that are fueling our choices, our actions, who it is that we're becoming. What happens in you when you open to the possibility that the wound is where the light can enter you, that these points of vulnerability are actually these beautiful, thin places. There's a beautiful Celtic phrase of a thin place. It's like where the border between heaven and earth gets semi-permeable, it gets hazy. Our wounds are thin places. They're the places where actually we can be incredibly open to spirit. We can be incredibly open to community, to a full new perspective. So it's that lens that we take in Weighty, which is getting into the stories, the wounds that you might be working with, and seeing those, asking the question of those, how is the light entering this? How is this wound an invitation to understanding, wisdom, growth, strength? So we're not gliding over any of that. We're like diving in. And I say we because a central part of anything I ever do, anything I ever want to do, but certainly of Weighty, is community, is like-hearted, heart-word community, a community that's going to hold you. So speaking of, our first live session for Weighty is this Monday. So again, you can find out all about Weighty at NicoleMoline.com/Weighty. It's WEIGHTY. I want to tell you about the name. It's been a little while since I've shared this here. And Weighty is very much about reclaiming and revolutionizing our understanding of weight, our weightiness. So coming from a perspective that whatever body recomposition that you may be after, which we take very seriously, coming at that from this place of, first and foremost, I am weighty in this world. I am meant to leave an impression on this world. I am meant to leave a legacy on this world. I am meant to be a weighty one. So I encourage you tonight to breathe into just this simple phrase, I am weighty. What does that stir up in you? What does that invite you to? If this is resonating with you, if this is calling to you, trust your intuition. I would love to answer any questions that you have about Weighty here in the comments on this video or in the direct messages. You can also just message me through the website. And again, I am celebrating our weightiness. I'm celebrating the ways that our wounds are this invitation to our next becoming, this invitation to opening ourselves to the resources, to the collaboration with spirit that is calling for us. And I'm bowing to your sadhana, to your holy, rigorous practice of becoming. Big love.